Frizzle fantastics. The Aeronaut's Windlass, in just one word, is surprising. In this review, I will have 3 main topics of things that I loved about the book that maybe not everyone will love. So number 1 is Gwen. So let me tell you a story of the first time I attempted to read this book, because this was a journey. 2 years ago, I was hot off the presses of totally falling in love with the Dresden Files, which is by the same author, Jim Butcher. So I knew it was time to go tackle all of his other books, because they were surely just as good, right? And then I read the first half of the first chapter of this book, and I gave up. I gave up that quickly, even trusting the author, because the main character and narrator of that chapter, Gwen, was just so entirely annoying. She is proud and stubborn and brash and unpractical, and I, right then and there, decided that if this was our narrator for this book, I would not enjoy this book, so I gave up. And then fast forward 2 years, I'm doing the project of finding books similar to Dresden Files, and links as always in the footnotes for videos included in that project. And I really wasn't looking forward to read this one because I had already bounced off of it. But I also knew that I hadn't given it its fair shake. Like, literally, I hadn't even made it 1 chapter in. So I made myself keep reading. And by chapter 2, I was very glad I did, because I realized that Gwen wasn't our only narrator for this book, so that immediately helped me get some relief. Even if she was going to be so annoying, I had other people to follow. So it was gonna be fine. It was gonna be fine. And then a few chapters later, I realized that I actually liked reading Gwen's chapters. That was the utterly surprising thing. I hated her so much that I decided not to continue reading the book. And then within a few chapters, she was honestly one of my favorite characters. So what happened here? Well, what happened is I realized that I could just trust the author. Because Gwen, yes, is proud and full of hubris and weirdly obsessed with manners and ridiculously stubborn. But the book knows it. The other characters know it. She gets teased for it. It's pointed out that she often causes way more problems than she solves. Instead of this just being, here is our hero of the story, it was, this is a character who is flawed. And those flaws became, instead of like, look at the quirky things the main character does, the beginnings of a character arc for her to overcome. But what's more, and really got me loving Gwen and the way that she's written in this story, goes a little deeper than that. Think about it this way. If you take any good quality, you can take it too far and have that strength become a weakness. And that's often used to great effect in stories where someone is so kind they become a pushover or this or that it's a nice way to give your characters flaws that are in some ways paired with and reflections of their strength. Well, for Gwen, we kind of first get to meet her from the side of her flaws. And then you realize that her flaws in a lot of ways are also her strengths. It just depends on which situation she's in. Because she is so aggressively type A personality that sometimes when you need someone to be that pushy, she's exactly the person you need on your side. When another character with an eating disorder is starving himself, sometimes you need a Gwen to put food in front of him and make him eat it. When there's an emergency situation and people are panicking and don't know what to do, sometimes you need someone as bossy as Gwen to straighten everything out and get everything running again. And yet the book also takes the time to have her acknowledge that sometimes these things are flaws and it doesn't work in every situation, and sometimes she does make things worse. And it's that richness of the book that surprised me, and I really was foolish for letting this surprise me. I should have respected the author better, that I've loved all of his other books. Because by the end of the book, I was both rooting for Gwen as she used her bossy skills to help save the day, and rooting for Gwen to have character development and to be a little less like that. And those two sides, so rich, so wonderful, yes, yes. And next, let's explore the cat. In this book, there are talking, intelligent cats that have their own society. One of the main narrators of the book is a cat. It's fantastic. I loved it. There are so many scenes of just like inter-cat politics that are so entertaining. I love that all the cats have names that totally sound like sounds that cats make. Like our main cat character is named Raoul. Yes, 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 so good. But to my surprise, after I had finished the book and I went on Goodreads to slouch around what other people were saying about the book, pretty much all the negative reviews on there were complaining about how boring the cats were. And what? But no. And you must judge for yourself if this is a thing that you will love or not. Because a lot of the human storyline is centered around we have to defend our spire. Oh yeah, wait, quick world building aside. The world building in this is really cool. In a vaguely post-apocalyptic steampunk setting, humanity lives in these big spires where every level is like its own little town. And then they get from spire to spire on these magical airships, and there are magic crystals and etc. So a lot of the humans' plot is relegated to dealing with an inter-spire war that's starting up. But the cats' plot is more cat politics, can we trust the humans, who can ignore each other for longer, power plays, etc. So if you go into this book expecting adventure fantasy, and then you get to the cats chapters and it's more political fantasy, I can see how that might throw you off. But I kind of love both, so I liked the cats a lot. But moving on to the thing that I honestly admire most about this book, the perspectives. One of my favorite characters in this book is Benedict. Benedict is a little bit of an outcast because he's a kind of mutant with some cat eyes and reflexes and stuff. And because of this, he both feels like a fun underdog tale as he makes friends, and also he's just really competent in a fight, which is fun to watch. And also it informs a lot of his personality, of him kind of being a little shy in social situations, or sometimes overcompensating with confidence. And the sad thing is, this book has many narrators, and Benedict isn't one of them. And at first, when I was thinking on this, I was really disappointed and thinking, we better get a Benedict point of view in book 2. We better, right? Please, please, we have to. And then I started considering that. Because you can't just keep adding POVs. So I thought, okay, if we're adding Benedict's POV, whose POV would I decide to take out of the story? Which one do I like the least? And then I realized that I love all of the point of view characters. And I honestly wouldn't select to take out any of them. And yet, if any of these point of view characters didn't have their own complicated plot and emotional arc moving forward, I think it'd be fine to take them out. Which shows just the absolute mastery of balance between different point of views that Jim Butcher has. I noticed this in his Codex Alera books as well, that every time the point of view switches, I was just happy. There wasn't one point of view that I dreaded going back to because I was bored with the plotline or didn't like the characters. They're all just equally beloved, except I love Benedict the most. But I have to respect the decision not to really give Benedict a point of view in this story because he's not one of the characters with a complicated emotional arc, character development, etc. We don't need a POV from him in this book. It wouldn't enrich the book in a way that a different point of view couldn't do better. And I just have to admire that utter balance and craft in choosing which characters get a point of view in this story and helping me to love all of them equally while also being excited for more and not feeling too sad if we dropped any of them. It feels like each point of view is so carefully selected to tell a certain part of this story that they're weaving together. And I just hope that Benedict ranks one in book 2, but if he doesn't, I've decided to trust Jim Butcher. I rated this book 4 stars. If you made it to the end of the video, comment with a sailboat emoji. And if you read the book, please let me know what you think about it. Subscribe for more videos on Frizzle Fridays, and thank you for watching.